Hello everyone! In this second video dedicated to the HubSense universe, we will see the different types of products and how to combine them. If you are not familiar with the HubSense system, do not hesitate to watch the first video in this series, which explains its general principles. The HubSense range includes two main families of products. The triggers or transmitters are the products that will send orders, such as sensors or push-button couplers, for example. And receivers are the products that will receive the orders, for example, LED drivers or dongles connected to LED drivers. Depending on the version of the product, it's possible to combine them in several different ways. Let's start with the triggers. The simplest one is a presence and brightness detector, powered by the mains, like this one, for example. You just need to plug it into the electrical network and nothing more. It integrates a Bluetooth chip that will send orders wirelessly to compatible lights. Some of these sensors also have a DALI output. It's then possible to connect this output directly to classic DALI drivers. Other sensors exist in the HubSense universe. These are D4i certified sensors, one of the DALI standards. These sensors are not powered by the electrical network, but directly by the DALI bus with 16-volt DC. For them to work, they must be supplied with this 16-volt voltage. And there are several ways to achieve this. The first is to use a DALI bus power supply, such as a DALI PS100 module. This module transforms the network voltage into a 16-volt DALI voltage. You will then only have to connect your sensor and your DALI drivers to this DALI PS100 power supply, so that everything works together. If you are short on space, you can replace the DALI driver with a D4i driver. These LED drivers have the particularity of being able, depending on the programming, to supply 16 voltage to the sensor. You will therefore simply have an active D4i driver with a HubSense D4i sensor. And there you have a standalone luminaire. Technically, you can add other drivers to this configuration. For example, to have a master luminaire and several slave luminaires, or a row of linears with an integrated sensor. In this case, the active D4i driver will supply the 16 volt of the DALI, and you can complete with classic DALI drivers, or with passive D4i drivers. Do you want to have a manual control for the lighting? No problem. Take a push-button coupler, on which you can put up to 4 buttons. Plug it into the electrical network. Connect your dry contact push buttons, free of potential, and that's it. The coupler will send the orders directly in Bluetooth to the compatible lights. And if you don't have an electrical supply at your control point, simply select one of our inertian buttons. They have the same functions, but do not need any cables or even batteries. No maintenance to plan. It is the impulse on the button that generates enough energy to send the signal. It's almost magic. Now that we have seen how to send orders and some possibilities of wiring the drivers, it remains to see the other ways of receiving the instruction on a luminaire. One of the solutions is the small Bluetooth dongle. D4i certified, it will serve as a converter to transmit the orders received in Bluetooth into orders in DALI. We will therefore find the architecture identical to the D4i sensor, either by using a DALI bus power supply, like the DALI PS100, or with an active D4i driver alone, or with an active D4i driver associated with classic DALI drivers or passive D4i drivers. Another control solution when you don't have a DALI system is to use the 0 to 10 or 1 to 10 volt converter, which also serves as a relay. With this product, the orders received in Bluetooth will be converted into 0 to 10 or 1 to 10 volts as needed to compatible drivers. It also has a relay output, allowing you to cut off the power supply to these drivers, or even to control non-dimmable drivers in a all or nothing mode to simply do on and off. And if you want to make your life even easier, you should know that there are LED drivers that originally have a HubSense compatible Bluetooth chip inside. Whether in linear, compact, class 2 or even rail format, you just need to plug them into the main so that they communicate directly on the HubSense network. If despite this you do not find the Bluetooth driver in the desired form factor or power, you can use a NLC DALI converter. Thanks to this product, you will have a Bluetooth chip that will drive any DALI driver, regardless of the power. And since there is only one Bluetooth chip, the one in the converter, this set will be considered as a single node in your network, even if you have several DALI drivers connected to it. All the drivers connected together on this converter will react together in the same way. Want to control even more drivers together? Insert a DALI repeater to mount up to 64 DALI drivers using a single Bluetooth chip. Want even more? You can put up to 32 DALI repeaters on a converter, each controlling 64 drivers. Yes, you can imagine. A HubSense network is up to 200 nodes, so 200 Bluetooth DALI converters, each controlling 32 DALI repeaters, each controlling 64 drivers. You can control more than 400,000 drivers in the same network, so you no longer have to worry about quantity limits. Finally, to close this product part, it's important to notice that HubSense products work in Bluetooth. It's therefore a 2.4 GHz wireless signal, the range of which depends on many parameters. Any metal obstacle, for example, will reduce the range of the signal. You have to think about it when integrating the products into the luminaires or into your project. Each case is different, and we can only encourage you to do tests according to your own constraints and to design your product so as not to block this wireless signal. Now that we know how to combine the products, we can move on to the third video for the configuration. Thank you for your attention.